When I got to the house for the first time, I was in love with the site. It's a completely natural, wooded, meadowy hillside, and it's surrounded by trees with a creek at the bottom, and it feels like a kind of native landscape, even though it's in the middle of Richmond and is just 5 minutes from Carytown. Light was kind of the reason for most of our decisions. Most of the big changes in the house were on a wooded site, and so there's light coming in, but it's getting filtered from trees on almost every single side. And this front room is where the family spends most of their time and entertains, and it's kind of the mixing chamber of the house. And the light in the front is blocked by the hill on one side of the driveway, and the light on the back is blocked by a porch, a covered porch. So we put in a skylight, like a standard size, kind of normal skylight at an angle on the roof, and then opened up the ceiling at an angle also. So it's aimed at the sun during the winter solstice. So in the darkest months of the year, the sun will come in and slide into the skylight at the right angle and then bounce off the angled walls of the ceiling so that it diffuses light all throughout the room, as opposed to like a square skylight where you only get sun at noon in summer that comes directly in. So that really was the big formal move in the living room, and it's like high impact and practical as well as being beautiful. So I think light was like the number one influence on how the house was planned. I think the windows were a huge investment. They're all aluminum, and they're an anodized color, like the champagne color, that we spent a lot of time talking about because the instinct is kind of to go with black for contrast, to have like that really high contrast, beautiful arched line on a white facade. But I think keeping it a more unconventional color and something that's warmer makes it feel like it's part of the art or like a beautiful object. And it feels special and warm in a way that just like a standard window color wouldn't have. So love what the windows have done for the place. When you get into the site, there's this kind of, it feels very diminutive the way the house sits on the hill. And then as it's carved into the hill, it grows obviously as you get to the back, but it feels like it's just perched in the middle of the woods. And so like you'll notice the desk area is painted green and has a botanical wallpaper on the ceiling, and it juts out into the forest essentially. So when you're in it, you feel like you're completely surrounded by nature. And we used the views of the different bedrooms and different spaces to frame that wildness in a way that makes you feel like the wildness of nature is coming into the house. So like in the shower, when you're showering, you have windows on two sides and you feel like you're completely embedded in the landscape. It's a modern way of living in some ways because the kitchen is intersecting the living room, and there's a more public part of the kitchen and a more private part of the kitchen. And like one thing, I'll just talk through the organization of the house. Like the big central room is public, and it has the highest ceilings. It feels very expansive and welcomes people in. And then every time you go through a narrowing in some way, that's telling you you're getting to a more private family space. So like the guest room or the TV room, a bedroom, the mudroom. And I think that like not separating parts of the house, but kind of cueing people of where they can and can't go makes this more modern because it's reflective exactly how the family lives and not kind of how houses are supposed to be designed. The house is like large in terms of square footage, but because of that structure and the way things are divided and all the doors to get around places, there's not a ton of wall space. And Jennifer had kind of collected things from trips and family, her kids, art, obviously books, and so there was just a lot to hide away if we just took the house at wall value. So this kitchen and all of the cabinetry that's in this room, or really in the house, but especially in this room, adds that storage and display capability and lets the kitchen feel like an object that's sitting in the space rather than just a kitchen like around the perimeter of a wall. And so this shelf came from the idea of Ariel's cave from The Little Mermaid. Like that idea of like having everything that you love sitting somewhere where you can sit and just like be like, oh, I remember that trip, or I remember when my kid made that, instead of packing it away. So that frames the whole room. And then the coffee bar here and that wall of cabinetry are, both of them are kind of designed to look like they could swing in and fill in the opening. Even putting this bookshelf here, the double-sided bookshelf, gives visitors a place to pause when they come in and put down their stuff, as well as giving storage and display. And then this one mirrors it with a bench for dining. So it's all kind of like a neat little puzzle piece that makes the room functional. I think the porch feels the most magical. That feels like a magical treehouse world. I would want to hang out there all the time. How you define a modern home is maybe the root of the thing that needs advice, because I think people want a modern home and then think that they have to make a home that looks like every other modern home. And I actually think a modern home just means one that's not necessarily copying the way things have been done for the sake of copying them. It's starting with a blank slate and then modifying it to perfectly suit you. And so from that point of view, I would say, like, don't call it a modern, or don't try and define it as a modern home. Just do what you like and fits your lifestyle, and then it will end up being a modern home.